Yo, welcome back to the house where we talk news, celebrities, and hot topics. All right, so very quickly, I want to go ahead and give my 2 cents on the whole Cassie situation, and I will read the beginning of the lawsuit. She's filing a lawsuit, and trigger warning, if you don't want to hear about sexual assault, then you might want to click off now, because there are some disturbing details in this lawsuit. Cassie, the singer, she dated Diddy for like over 10 years. She's filing a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy, Bad Boy Records, and everybody in between, basically documenting how he was violent and sexually abusive, right? Listen, when I first heard about this news, I instantly thought of Virginia. Virginia back in 2018, 2019 went on to Tasha K before Tasha K went off on the deep end and basically exposed Diddy for being abusive to her. She had dated Diddy a few years back, and then she went on to Tasha K and basically said that he abused me. And then I think a few years after that, let me back it up. When she went on to Tasha K talking about Diddy abused me, I was thinking to myself, why aren't the blogs picking this up? Why isn't anyone talking about this? I thought that was weird. I thought that was really strange. It like went over everybody's head. And I'm like, hello, somebody ring the alarm, like sound off the alarm. Nobody's talking about this. I'm like, what kind of power does Diddy have over the industry where this woman who he dated is out here saying I was abused and nobody's picking it up? Or at least no one is writing a story about it, trying to fact check, trying to see if her claims are accurate, right? And then a few years later, she went back to Diddy, which confused the hell out of me. I'm like, okay, not only did you leave an abusive situation, but you exposed him to a blogger. You did a whole interview. She's on camera. You can look it up. You can Google it. And then you go back to him. And not only do you go back to him, you don't go back to him in silence, but then you are going back and forth on social media with young Miami Caresha, who's also dating Diddy. When the Cassie news dropped yesterday, I was like, yeah, it reminded me of that. So I'm like, wow. And it also kind of reminds me, you guys are not going to like this, but it reminds me of R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, and Bill Cosby, where I feel like the general public has been blinded by a black man's celebrity status and talent to where you can have these allegations be kind of prominent for decades and decades and years and years and years, and the general public just ignores it. That's not true. Ignore it. Turn a blind eye. This is straight from the lawsuit. Defendant Sean Combs is a rapper and record executive known by his stage names Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Diddy. Mr. Combs came to fame in the early 90s with his record label Bad Boy Records. He rose to prominence in the music and entertainment industry over the decades and is referred to as a hip-hop mogul. In 2022, Mr. Combs received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. During his acceptance speech, Mr. Combs stated, I have to give a special shout out to someone I love. He named a number of people before adding, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. The truth, however, is that Cassie, Miss Cassandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbed demands. For Miss Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse. Among other violent, unlawful acts, Mr. Combs, Cassie in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Cassie, resulting in bruises, busted lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Blew up a man's car, Kid Cudi, after he learned that he was romantically interested in Cassie. Forced Cassie to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters. And introduced Cassie to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse. Cassie met Diddy in 2005 when she was 19 years old and he was 37. He signed her to his label, Bad Boy Records, and within a few years, lured Cassie into a fast-paced and drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him. Her boss, one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry, was a vicious, cruel, and controlling man nearly 2 decades her senior. Mr. Combs asserted complete control over Cassie's personal and professional life, thereby ensuring her inability to escape his hold. He provided unprecedented avenues for success for the aspiring artist, but in return demanded obedience, loyalty, and silence. Throughout their relationship, Mr. Combs was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently beat Cassie savagely. These beatings were witnessed by Mr. Combs' staff and employees of Bad Boy Entertainment, but no one dared to speak up against their frightening and ferocious boss. Following these episodes of horrific abuse, Mr. Combs would immediately attempt to hide Cassie and the evidence of his violent rage. He often showered her with gifts following incidents of physical violence, a typical pattern of serial abusers. In addition to the physical assaults, Mr. Combs frequently reminded Cassie of his ability to cause serious harm, whether by requiring her to carry his gun in her purse or by blowing up the car of a musician that was romantically interested in her. Adding insult to injury, Mr. Combs used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Cassie into repeated unwanted sexual encounters with male sex workers. Over the years that Mr. Combs abused Cassie physically and sexually, she again and again tried to escape his tight hold over her life. Every time she hid, Mr. Combs' vast network of corporations and affiliated entities found her, and those who worked for Mr. Combs' companies implored her to return to him. Many went as far as to explicitly state that her failure to return to Mr. Combs would hinder her success in the industry. When she believed that she had finally separated from her longtime abuser, she joined Mr. Combs for a dinner, after which he forced her into her home and raped her while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Cassie has now fully escaped Mr. Combs, but the harm that the assaults and sexual abuse he caused her to experience for nearly a decade will forever haunt her. She has required intensive medical and psychological care to recover from the trauma that she lived through. She cannot, however, continue to live in silence about what she endured. Mr. Sean Diddy Combs remains immensely powerful and dangerous. Cassie therefore seeks justice for the decade of her life that Mr. Combs took away, with threats of violence, excessive use of drugs, physical and psychological abuse, and sexual slavery. So there you have it, $30 million. So, there were statements of Virginia being abused. People are speculating that there was a lot going on with Diddy and Kim Porter. We have Cassie. Aubrey O'Day has alluded to his dangerous behaviors. And there have been countless, just a lot of speculation surrounding Tupac's death, Biggie's death, everybody's death. There's a lot of darkness surrounding this man, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this fares out. So, listen. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about everything in the comments down below. This is going to be a really interesting story to continue to watch. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to create a great day. Bye.